What's going on, guys? Marvy here. I just wanted to make a quick video going over my Le Mans Ultimate settings. Um, Mainly what settings I use to prevent any like frame drops, which can be an issue regardless of how strong your computer is. Certain settings will just make you lag. So I'll kind of go over that and go over a few things for calibrating force feedback that you might not see in any other videos, so worth a quick watch. So I don't want to make this video long, so I'm going to get right into it. So let's open up LMU. I'm going to go over the in-game settings first, and then I'll go over some peripherals and things that I use after. For reference, my PC has an 4070 Ti Super. I have an i7, 32 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of VRAM, I think a terabyte of storage. I'm racing on a Fanatec CSL DD with the McLaren wheel, CSL load cell, a couple mods, and I have a button box. I'm on a 49-inch Samsung G9 Super Ultra Wide. Okay, so if we go into the settings, brings you to gameplay. There's not a ton here. It's all self-explanatory, so just go through, like if you want the racing line, here it is. I wouldn't keep any assists on. Don't use any assists. You're not going to be able to use them online anyways. HUD scale, so for your HUD, there's three settings. There's normal, wide, and full. Essentially, like if you imagine the three different main aspect ratios that you see, which is like whatever is standard on a TV, and then there's like a 34-inch ultra wide, then there's like the 49-inch super ultra wide. Essentially, like normal is the corner of the TV, wide would be the corner of like a regular ultra wide, and then full would be the corner of a super ultra wide. So I like mine like at like the quarter and three-quarter mark to be on the A pillar for the most part. So I use wide on mine. Other than that, it's all pretty self-explanatory. This is all, again, self-explanatory. This controls your HUD, so definitely want these mapped. You definitely want to shift to neutral mapped. And then if we go into, you definitely want a speed limiter. Even if you're going to use auto speed limiter, which I wouldn't recommend here in this game, but you need a speed limiter button mapped because that's how you do your starts. The rest of this is at your discretion. Gameplay. I don't use any of this. These are cameras. Okay, so starting at cycle mirror. This is like a personal thing, but in a hypercar, since I have a super ultra wide, I can see the whole mirror the way I have it set it up, that in-car mirror. So I don't want an in-car mirror and a virtual mirror. So I actually have a button on my button box type top for cycle mirror. The only thing I use the virtual mirror for is for GT3 because for whatever reason it doesn't work with the way I have it set up. So you can do that. And then reset target delta target lap time is actually pretty cool. Essentially, like if it starts raining halfway through the race, obviously you're never gonna have a green delta again because your earlier laps were under dry conditions. So I just reset the delta, which is nice because it gives me something to like, kind of chase after. Rest of it is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, calibrate is where the bulk of this is going to be. So steering, throttle, brake. Under your brakes, for your brake, there's something called, if you click this down arrow, something called sensitivity. This isn't the maximum amount of brake pressure like iRacing has. This changes the curvature essentially. So if you're going to drive LMPs, hypercars, you got to be really sensitive with your brakes. And unless you have very expensive brakes, sometimes it can be tough. So sensitivity just essentially changes the curve so that in the middle range you have more control. Which is where you want the precision in your braking normally. So 70, 80, even like 60 to 80%, play around with it. It's very helpful when you're driving hypers, especially when you're first starting out. Steer settings. I use steering wheel range from vehicle, and then I set my rotation to 900. You can try 180. I wouldn't keep this on because there's a glitch where this will reset your like force feedback settings in Fanatec. So I don't use steering wheel maximum rotation from driver. I just set it to 900. That's what I like. Pretty good. So under wheel settings, this is something you definitely want on. Prevent downshifting to neutral if neutral is configured, right? So in LMU, you can downshift into neutral. So it happens all the time, especially when you first start. You get into, you're just spamming downshift, and then all of a sudden you hit the gas. You're not going anywhere. It's because you're neutral. So you definitely want this on. And if you have a wheel that allows you to pull both upshift and downshift at the same time, this is what I would use. Use simultaneous shift up and down to activate neutral. I don't, because I have the McLaren wheel, which is on a rocker. So I just set it here with a button, shift to neutral. Other than that, that's good. Force feedback, don't use inverted. I keep my base at 100%, and then 70% is what feels good for me on my 8 newton meters. Smoothing is very good. If you're going to be driving a lot of hypercars, a lot of LMPs, LMU's force feedback is very intense over bumps and curbs, and smoothing just helps reduce how intense it is. It'll just make your driving better. 2 is fine for me most of the time. If I'm running like Sebring in a hypercar, I'll probably turn it up to like 4. Anything really bumpy, you want it up. If you're just driving GT3s, GTEs, like you probably don't need this, so you can turn it off. Collision strength, I keep at 100. A lot of these videos I see, they turn it down to 40%. For me, a lot of times I get hit and I don't even feel it, so I don't want it at 40%. I want to feel it if I'm getting hit. Yeah, so that's what I use. Okay, over to graphics. I'm going to preface with this is just, like, these graphics are just to not, like, so that I don't lag, so that I don't have frame drops. That's my main goal. Obviously, like, I want it to look good, and I think it does look good, but you can play with most of these, but there's certain things that just will drop frames no matter how good your computer is. Yeah, so this is what this is around. So, you know, resolution, set it. Refresh, you want as high as your monitor will go. No vertical sync, no, don't turn that on. Post effects has a big effect on the graphics, so I use low. It still looks fine, but you can put it on medium, it looks pretty good. Don't use motion blur. I use FSA 4X. I don't use FXAA. I don't find it to be very good. Now, with the graphics, even if you have a really high-end PC, highly recommend not using Ultra because you get frame drops. That's what I had to change to fix it so that I don't get frame drops. So I use all these on high. 8x introscopic or whatever I use 8x. Special effects. I use medium because I really like the look of dirt or the sparks coming from underneath the car. So I use medium. You could put this on low. I have all these on low and shadow blur on optimum. If you're doing a lot of racing in the rain, you probably want to turn this up because then the rain won't look very good, raindrops. So, but yeah, essentially, like, these are your more important ones. Keep them on high. You could try ultra, but if you're lagging, it's probably why. These aren't as important. So, visible vehicles, I use 18. You could turn it up to like 20, but even if you have a high-end PC, I would not recommend turning it up much more than that. It's just not worth it. You're gonna get drops. You're not gonna see 18 cars after like the first lap of the race anyways, if that long anyways. And then the other thing is lock horizon. You want this on low. Essentially, this is just how bumpy it's going to look from inside the car. Low is what you want, just trust me. And yeah, I would just copy these settings in general. Okay, last thing here is under sounds, this number of effects. It's normally like 300 or 500 or something. For whatever reason, a sound setting is making a lot of people lag. Drop this to 100, you'll see a lot less frame drops. I'm at the point now where I have 0 frame drops, so it runs beautifully and it looks good. So drop this to 100, and then yeah. I use crew chief. So I put the spotter detail on medium, but lap time's off. He Yeah, I don't know. I don't really hear the spotter except for at the beginning. But yeah, anyways, the other thing here is trackside mode for the replay. Put this on immersive, not broadcast. It'll sound much better. You'll get the sound you're looking for. So that's it for the in-game settings. Now let's go just a couple more things I want to go over. If you go to your files, so I'm going to do this from the beginning here. If you go to your Steam app files, right, it's essentially you go to your computer, program files x86, Steam, Steam apps, common, right? This is how you get to your games. Open up Le Mans Ultimate, and then you're going to go to user data, player. All right, all these here, these are game files. So there's one called directinput. This is your force feedback file. Make a copy, name it directinput.old. .old is important. So now if you ever hate this, if you ever hate what I'm about to show you, you can just go back and use the old one. But essentially, this is from a Reddit post. I'll link it in the description. You can just read through. He goes over a lot. I will try and find the comment, but essentially what he says to do, like all this, you can ignore this, you can ignore this, okay? All you need to do is this bit. Okay, so what that is you go into the direct input, change a few values, and it just makes the force feedback much better. You get more feedback in the low end. It gets rid of some of the noise, like unnecessary noise with the bumps and things like that. So just follow along, just change these settings, see if you like them. If not, go back, just delete it and use an unnamed directinput.old to direct input and you're good to go. It seems a little scary, but it's not. It's really no big deal. I recommend it. I don't think you're going to see another video about that specific setting. See if there's anything else I wanted to go over. That was pretty much it. There are a few other settings if you're still lagging. There are settings where you can kind of cap the frame rate, things like that. They're going to be in these files. It's you know, I wouldn't do more than that, but if you're having issues, you can troubleshoot. The last thing is for setups. So this is this same player folder. If you go into settings, you're going to see all the tracks here, and then if you have setups, all you do is drag them and drop them to their respective track. And then once you're in game, you could just refresh, and it'll be there. So without making this video too much longer, that's pretty much it. I'll quickly, just for starts, in case you're really new and you haven't seen anything on it, don't try to swerve to warm your tires. Don't gas brake. You're going to get in erratic driving. The most important thing at the start for LMU is if you insist, you can drag your brakes a little bit while maintaining a constant speed. But the main thing is have your pit limiter on, gas the throttle, pit limiter off when the green flag drops. That's how you start. It's very easy. It's actually quite nice. The other thing is don't pass, like there's gonna be like a red wall, like just stay in between there. I think it does a pretty good job of keeping everybody in a good place for the start, unlike other sims where sometimes the starts can be super chaotic, like as soon as the green flag drops. But it's really touchy, so at first, like if you're not listening to it, if you get erratic driving, you're gonna get a drive-through. Then my one last tip I will give, with LMPs, hypercars, especially with the hypercars, certain cars are like difficult to break, even if, oh, my Fanatec settings, I almost forgot. Good thing. I'll just show you quickly what I use for Fanatec settings. This is what I use. It's pretty simple. Only thing I'll say is FFB interpolation. This is to get rid of graininess. So if you're turning and the force feedback feels grainy, just turn that up. I use 2. And then I don't know why this is over here, but this is set to 90. So that's what I use for my brake force. Hopefully that didn't reset on me. Other than that, this is very straightforward. 900 degrees is to match my 900 in rotation setting in game. Oh yeah, my last tip is for those hypercars and LMPs, when you're braking really hard, even if you're braking hard in a straight line, um, you can lock up not from the braking, but from your shifting. So certain cars are just much more difficult to brake, even if you're just braking in a straight line. Even if you're bleeding off the throttle, the brake, um, you can lock up. So what would help you a lot, this is for like hard straight line braking zones. What helps me a lot is you hit the brake, slam the brake at first, and start bleeding off and delay your first downshift, right? So instead of brake, downshift, 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 like you would with like a GT3, for example, brake, hold, down, 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 like something like that, and it'll fix it. I don't know. That little tip has helped me so much, especially with the LMP. So try that. You have any questions, holler at me or drop a comment. But yeah, hope this helps. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.